Hello guys, and welcome back to the corner of Midwest Coasters, where we have all of your top over-the-counter roller coasters. Now we've got 10 on today's list of the top bucket list roller coasters, and we've got 2 that are honorable mentions, and obviously the 10, and obviously any of these could be your number one. I would not mind. I think the 10 on here are all good. And if you think one's higher should be lower, put it in the comments, but I really wouldn't disagree with you, because they're all great, and I'm really excited to ride all of them. Anyway, let's get straight into today's video. So, if you're wondering, yes, I did come up with that line just before I filmed this, so don't shun me. Anyway, we're going to start off with our 2 honorable mentions. Number 12 is Tatsu, and I'm sure you're wondering why Tatsu. Tatsu just intrigues me, just because I've ridden, Superman Ultimate Flight. Just so much intrigues me that I thought, okay, I'm going to put a Tatsu on here. People rave about its pretzel loop and all of its elements, and I think it could be all that. It's certainly not best in the park, but I think it could be a really, honestly good ride. But let's move on to number 11, another honorable mention, which is King Ka. It's tall, it's fast, I'm just not super pumped for it. I still think could be really good. I'm just not as pumped for this ride, for King Ka, as the rest of the rides. And frankly, I don't even think King Ka is best in the park. I think rides like Nitro are probably going to be better. I just put it on here because, it's King Ka. It's tall, it's fast, and it's furious, too. So, let's move on to number 10, shall we? Number 10 is Twisted Colossus, another ride at Magic Mountain. It seems like truly a great RMC. I think the racing element adds to it. There's a lot of RMCs that could honestly be on here. Rides like IRAT, I'm trying to think. That is not an RMC. But there's a lot of RMCs that I think could very well be on this list that aren't, just because I haven't ridden them. I don't know. I think definitely Twisted Colossus is a good ride, but I'm not sure it's as good as the rest of the rides that I have on here. But we'll just move on. Let's move on to our next one here. So, our next one is Manta. Manta is a B&M hyper that has been talked about as the best hyper. People say Diamondback is better. I honestly prefer Raging Bull. You can hate me, but I honestly prefer Raging Bull. So, but Manta seems like the next level. It seems like a great layout, and I just am excited to go to that park and see, is it? Because I think it definitely could be, frankly. Manta seems like a great layout. But let's move on to our next one, number 8 here. Number 8 is Intimidator 305 at King's Dominion. Yeah, gosh, I spaced out there for a second. It just seems like so intense. I know they changed a little bit. They changed the curve. But one thing that signifies to me that this is going to be a great ride is just how short its queue is. I know normally that's a bad thing, but for enthusiasts, it's a great thing. And the GP hates really intense things. They love rides like Top Thrill Dragster, where it's intense for a short period of time, or it's just super intense. But they don't like super tall, super fast, really crazy intense. And I think people view that as almost too rough. So I'm super excited for Intimidator 305. People don't like to black out, and I'm super excited to black out on Intimidator 305 personally. Number 7 here is Pantheon. Pantheon looks great. I've been on a lot of launch coasters back in my day. I rode a lot of launch coasters, and I think looking at all these launch coasters, rides like Max Force, Top Thrill Dragster, Maverick, I think one thing that I really do like about the launch coasters is just a super intense launch, which Pantheon obviously has, but then just some level of uniqueness. So whether it be on Maverick, I love the tunnel with the launch really fast, and then I feel like I like its inversions and really fast curves. And why that's important is because I think Pantheon just looks so interesting with a backwards launch, with hang time, with air time. I think it all packs an amazing punch that I think I'm just super excited for. I was really pumped for last year. We were supposed to go last year, but obviously it hasn't opened yet, and hopefully I'll get there in the next coming years. That's my goal, to get back to Busch Gardens. I mean, not back to, I stood at the entrance, so that's something. Anyway, let's move on to our next one here, which is Iron Gwazi. Now, Iron Gwazi has been talked about and hyped up for too long, because it has not opened yet. And I think Iron Gwazi will not be as good as Steel Vengeance. I think people think it will be. People at least thought it will be as good as Steel Vengeance. I just don't think it will be. I think Iron Gwazi has a great lightning drop, some great elements. I think it appears to be really good. I just don't think it will be. I just don't think it will be good enough to top Steel Vengeance. And I think that's there are a lot of reasons I think that. I just, I'm not as maybe optimistic as I should be. It's still on this list, obviously. It looks insane, but I just don't think it's going to be as good as Steel Vengeance. But a few rides that I do think will be are coming up soon. So number 5 here, we've got X2. X2 looks insane. Honestly, the spinning mixed with the elements, I think it's almost going to be not too much, but maybe too much. Almost there too much. I think X2 is going to be insane. I think it's the ride just like Intimidator 305, where the GP just cannot handle it, and I think X2 really excites me. It makes me really intrigued to go to Magic Mountain. For X2, for Twisted Colossus, for Tatsu, for a lot of rides there, I'm really excited to go to Magic Mountain. I mean, it has like 19 coasters. That is something, and it's something I'm super excited for. Plus, my goal is that when I go next year, hopefully their single rail will be open by then. Six Flags, but that's my goal. Anyway, we're going to move on to our next one here, which is Lightning Rod. I think it still is a launch lift hill. I forget. I know they did the work on it. It's been a while since I looked at that. Really looked at what they're doing on Lightning Rod, but I know they're making it steel, but I think Lightning Rod will just be crazy good. If it's like it was, I think the launch lift hill, if they take out the launch lift hill, it will not be the same. Let's just be honest. The launch lift hill is part of what made their ride Lightning Rod, and also what made Lightning Rod is that so few people could ride it. I feel like that was another thing that really hyped it up. So should it be number 4? I don't know, but I'm really excited to ride it. Hopefully they don't remove the launch lift hill, but they might. You never know. Our next one here, we have got number 3. This has been talked about as an amazing coaster, and I'm just not sure it's going to be number 1 worthy here. I think it's definitely going to be better than Steel Vengeance, and that coaster is VelociCoaster. VelociCoaster just packs a punch, or looks like it does, and I think the theming, the elements, there's so many great elements that just appear to make this ride one of a kind, and a mix of everything you want. Like I said with Pantheon. This seems like actually Pantheon's big brother, like where it has the airtime, the inversions, and the hang time, the speed, everything you could want in a coaster seems to be in this coaster, minus the backwards launch. But I think VelociCoaster is something special that I really want to get to ride. I'm not sure I'm going to get back to Universal Orlando anytime soon. I went there a while ago, but I'm not sure I'm going to get back there. I hope I do, and if I'm there, I'm going to be riding VelociCoaster for sure. Our next one here is number 2. Number 2 is going to be Fury 325. So Fury 325 is tall, it is fast, and I think the one difference between this and the number 1 coaster is it's focused more on floater. I'm a person who likes super intense things, rapid airtime, ejector airtime, and I think this coaster, while having a lot of airtime, a lot of speed, and just seems to be an amazing coaster, I think it doesn't have that ejector like our number 1. Our number 1 here is ElToro, and ElToro does appear to have that ejector airtime. ElToro just seems amazing, and I'm really excited to do ElToro, especially because I feel like when coasters get a bad rap, and I think this seemingly appearing smooth wooden coaster, I think will really change my mind and ride ElToro again and again and again. I think this coaster could be my number 1. But that's my list here. I could definitely see after riding these, certain rides moving to number 1, certain rides moving to number 10. But we'll see as time tells, as I get to ride all these coasters. I'm super excited to get things back underway after COVID, but that was my top 10 bucket list coasters in the United States. So if you have your opinions of the coasters I've ridden. Share it down below, comment below. I really appreciate it. And of course, please subscribe. But without further ado, thank you guys for watching this full video, and I'll see you guys in a future episode here on Midwest Coasters.
Out of eyes trying to put me on a t-shirt. Shorty want me so bad, do your knees hurt? Yeah, I'm counting paper guap in my beamer, yeah. Just if you want one, then you coming with a paper. I ain't texting shorty back, see you later. Yeah, you catch me on that gas, I'm a racer, yeah.